Hey everybody, welcome back to Investment Honey, where we talk about various crypto projects. Before we begin, as always, a couple of reminders that I am not your financial advisor and we never provide any investment advice on this channel. So with that being said, want to say happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. And also want to mention that, of course, we didn't go ahead and do a video yesterday because that was just crazy. All the broccoli nonsense and people were getting absolutely destroyed everywhere. So I just decided that there's no way on earth I'm going to go ahead and do a video because there were just too many deployments out there that were just absolutely just bananas. So that's the reason why we didn't do a video yesterday. But getting to one today. So if you are new, thank you so much for joining the series, joining the channel. Thank you for supporting us, by showing up and viewing the video. And for anybody that's been here, since the beginning or joined us somewhere along the way, thank you so much again for your continued support. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you have not checked out any of the other channels, like Crimson's Calls on Telegram or the X channel, make sure to check those out as well. I did go ahead and make a call, on the Telegram channel. I'll go ahead and take you on over there. And so the call that I made was on Eddie, which is my neighbor's dog. So the reason why I made this call was because I had seen that there were so many, videos and views, on TikTok in regards to this particular dog. And basically it's like a video showing the dog, riding this thing coming downstairs, and he's on whatever, like a box or whatever. And it looks pretty good, so, and people have different, music associated with it as well. But with that being said, there's just, it really is a pretty decent presence, on TikTok, so, and I had seen this, just like I said in the post, I saw it under 200K. In fact, I saw a post on X, where somebody actually notified their community at 20K, on this one. So, and it ran to over 500K. And then I continued to watch the chart and it did go ahead and dump, but I was just watching and watching and watching. It was getting later in the evening. And I was like, you know what? It's 50-50, whether the thing, goes up or goes down. But a lot of times you can't ignore, a meme, when it's got a pretty decent presence, on any kind of social media platform, particularly on TikTok, so for this one, I was like, hey, what the heck, we'll go ahead and we'll make a call on it, so put that information together. And, I took my time, doing this, so the market cap, wasn't bad. I mean, again, when I saw it, 200K or around there, and then went up and it came back down, so, but the buy pressure continued to still be there, even though people were still selling off, tokens, so, but I always, tend to let people know that it's pretty much, up to them as far as, how they want to proceed, so, and then, saw it this morning and it still it was still retracing, in the post, I put here that it actually did retrace, to or not in this post, but in another post, it retraced to under 80K, at one point. And then just a ton of buy pressure, came into this one. So, so obviously you can see here, that I called it here at 165, it went to 1.5 million. And then I added, some additional information here. So, like I said, right here. So it went to around 80K at some point, and now it's over $1 million. So the other thing that I wanted to mention, while we're here looking at this particular channel, and this is the channel associated, with the Investment Honey channel. So if you're not yet a member of this channel, just keep in mind, I don't always make calls, here. I certainly don't make calls every day here. That's for sure. I don't call for the sake of calling. So I figure that my community at this point knows that I prefer quality over quantity, so when I started this channel, I was making calls every day, and putting out reports, showing, how we were doing on those calls. But as the channel's grown, it's hey, I'm going to slow that down. And then I just try to put stuff out there when I've got some information and I feel like, there's potential, for it to grow. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not, but either way, that's how I operate as far as this channel is concerned. Then obviously there are other communities, associated, with this particular channel. Had a website, don't have one anymore. May go ahead and do that in the future, but I don't know yet. And then obviously the X channel. So I could put a new link in here, x.com instead of Twitter, but either way, some people still go ahead and call it Twitter. And then there's obviously the YouTube channel, which you guys are benefiting, from the YouTube channel, because obviously we have a new focus here, with my guy over here on the left, so the new focus is education on finding tokens early using Dexscreener. And then the sect bot, as well. So this is one where I haven't always been active, on this platform, but, I do, I do like, advertising for them. So if anybody wants advertisement, I'm also a representative, for them. But this bot is in like tons of private channels. I mean, thousands, of them. So, and they just recently, agreed to a partnership, or actually Maestro agreed to a partnership, with Sect, with the Sect bot. So that was pretty significant as far as that partnership is concerned. And then this was another one, OX calls, in a network of over 3,600 callers in that network. I was the top caller, performance-wise on that network, but they're no longer active anymore. So wanted to go ahead and give you guys all that information before we go ahead and get into, what we need to get into today. So we're going to go ahead and move back on over here. And two things that we want to look at. We want to look at NodeSphere. This is one that we talked about, I think, just the other day. So on the alert here, the only one that I set was an under because of where the candle was at the time, of finding this one. So this was created 2 days ago, and the last triggered, 2 days ago. And so we can see it did fall under 200K, because obviously this is disabled, which means if you're new that this alert did trigger. So under 200K, and then we're sitting here currently at, this says 882. Okay, so this will catch up. There's always a delay, but we're currently sitting at 882K, on the market cap. Now, obviously, if this was called, a couple of days ago, we're sitting here at the 14th, so this would have been back here on the 12th, so we're talking back here at around 2, it triggered under 200K, so that would have been right around, right around there, right? So literally pretty much towards the bottom, right? And so this did touch at the peak over 1 million. So what did this one do? This obviously made some gains. This obviously, had some phenomenal movement. And this is another example of what we're doing here in the series, that we are trying to spot stuff that has potential early. We're taking a look at the chart. We're taking a look at the community. We are, seeing what's going on there and deciding if we want to set some alerts. We set the alert on this one. And then in 2 days, what happened? It's moved. It's done essentially a 5x, all the way to 1 million, right? So keep that in mind, guys. I don't want you to have to go ahead and rely on calls. I don't want you to have to rely on influencers. I don't want you to have to rely on anybody's shills, okay? The reason why we're doing this series is so that I can go ahead and show you, kind of over the shoulder, what I do, what I think about, how I see different things. And then, we move through that process of setting those alerts. And then, there have been several examples, where we've seen tokens go ahead and do anything from a 2x to a 10x and beyond, as we've looked at different tokens, throughout the series. Now, we are 60 days into this series, and we've caught a number of different tokens throughout the series. And if you've been here for any amount of time, you've seen that, because we'll do reviews, on the tokens that have moved and so forth. And this is one example of one that has done exactly just that. Now, Fabian here. Another example, we're going to go out to the 15 minutes. Actually, yeah, this is good. And this is another one. We talked about this. I think this was 2 days ago as well. All right. And so set 2 alerts on this one. Alert me when the market cap, goes under 125, and alert me when it goes, over 180. Now, it never went under 125. And sometimes when we look at these charts, we'll make a decision, based on what we think in terms of, the deviation from the found market cap. Sometimes that deviation is going to be smaller. Sometimes it's going to be larger. It's this moving wormhole, every time we're taking a look at something. And you guys know, if you've been watching, if you've been a part of this series, for a while, sometimes I'm going, maybe 10 to 15,000, maybe to 20,000 from the found market cap. And sometimes I've gone as much as 100K, in terms of deviation from the found market cap, if I think it's going to fall like a rock, so, but this one, I think the deviations, from the found market cap were pretty reasonable. I mean, this one right here was found at 170 or 169, and I said I wanted to see it, potentially go to 125 or under. Now, I always tend to say that I don't know if it's going to trigger, but we'll see if it does, right? And so here on this one, the over, was only basically 10, 11K, from the found market cap, right? So it didn't take much to go ahead and go over that. And it did. And so obviously, if we look at this, if it was 2 days ago, because right now we're sitting here at the 14th and we go back here to the 12th, I mean, if it was a 169 and I wanted to see that go under, 125, I mean, clearly, depending on where we were on the 12th, so the 12th is going to be right here. So I'm going to move this. Come on, move it up, move it up. All right, let's do this. So here, if we're at the 12th is going to be right here. I mean, it pretty much, we got close. I mean, it pretty much stayed above 130, so had I adjusted that under a little bit more, it would have triggered, but either way, we were still close, so if you're somebody watching the chart on this, you still could have gotten in, if you chose to take an entry. And as always on this channel, we never encourage you to invest, but again, you're engaging with crypto-related content, and so it's a high likelihood you're still going to invest anyway. But the disclaimer still needs to be made that, should you have watched this one and decided to go ahead and jump in, I mean, still would have been a very, very good entry, because again, it kind of stayed around this 130, 150-ish kind of area, and then it started to make some movements up. And it really didn't look back, until you get to this point, where there is some retracement, a pretty, good sell candle. And then it recovers, and, then we still see the retracement here. But either way, this one's still at a pretty, decent level in terms of the market cap, because obviously, like I said, we found this one at 169. It's sitting, at, and this is saying 44, it'll catch up, but this is actually 572. So still sitting, above a 2x in terms of, even if you got in late on this one, so with that being said, this is yet another example, in terms of what we're trying to look for, going throughout the series, find stuff early, get in, take a position if that's what you choose to do, and there are different ways to go ahead and do that, if we talked about on this channel throughout the series, and, and you're in profit, so yeah, two good ones here, just to go ahead and highlight that for you, that did well. So that's what we wanted to cover in terms of review. Okay, so with that being said, still got my configuration here, so don't need to go ahead and touch anything, about that. You can see a number of the different broccolis, here. Truly, people were getting wrecked everywhere yesterday as far as trying to find, the right one. And then with all the other ones that were being deployed, still jumping in, thinking they were going to go ahead and see some profits. And at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, a lot of people lost a lot of money. There were people, obviously, that made money, but guaranteed a ton of folks lost money yesterday. So, but yeah, with that being said, what we're going to do, we're going to go into our filters and we're going to start looking around, for some stuff. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at all the chains that we've been talking about. Don't have to do anything here on the Dex side since we got multiple chains selected. Liquidity, we're going to leave that at 1,000, and market cap, we're going to go ahead and start out at 50,000. Okay, and so, you know what? Tell you what. Today, let's go ahead and let's take a look at some bottoms. Let's see if we can target some bottoms, and kind of go from there. So if you remember, what I've said in regards to this, and I don't know if we want to go ahead and target the bottoms or not. Well, I've already said it, so let's go ahead and let's look at some bottoms. So what are we doing? The first thing that we need to do is we need to, that we're obviously going to be targeting some newer tokens, obviously, because typically the way that I go ahead and do this, when you're looking for the bottoms, your 24-hour and your 6-hour need to basically be in that minus 70 to minus 90 area, ish. So let's see. Remember, you got to go ahead and flip flop, on the 24-hour, so I'm going to go minus 90 for our max, or, for the minimum column. And then for the max column, we're going to go with our minimum. Okay. So if you're new and that's confusing, I've talked about this in other videos. In the 24, when you're targeting the negatives, you always got to flip flop the values. Okay. So I'm not going to go say a whole lot more about that. But if you mess this part up, what I'll tell you is it doesn't matter what you put in here. You're not going to generate any tokens in the results. So you mess it up and you don't get any results. That's the reason why, because you decided to go and mess this up. So on the 6-hour, you could go ahead and go with something similar. Sometimes on the 6-hour here, you can put in different values on the negatives, because what it says is that fine, in the last 24 hours, there was a really big drop, really big sell-off. In the 6-hour, if you want to go with values, where, let's say it's not a minus 70 to 90, let's say maybe it's a minus, I don't know, 10 to 30. Okay, so we can go ahead and go with a minus 30 and a minus 10. The reason why you would do something like that is because it would indicate that even though there was a massive sell-off here, that there may be some volume and buy pressure coming back to the chart, because obviously in the last 6 hours, it's not as bad as this minus 70 to minus 90 area, if that makes any sense. So, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave the rest of it open so that we can see if I can highlight to you exactly what I'm trying to show you. Everything else here, I'm going to leave it open too, just to go ahead and see what we get. Hopefully we get something. We don't always get something, but we'll see. Okay, so the only thing that we've done in terms of filters right now, and if you're brand new, keep in mind, this is not typically what I do every day. Every day, it's typically, a set, there are set filters that I usually go ahead and use in just about every video, but there are, from time to time, I will go into a little bit, complex, other advanced things you can do in terms of the filters to target other types of tokens, right? So, okay, so we're gonna click apply. Let's see what we get, and it didn't look like we got a lot, so that's good. Okay, so and I was skeptical if I put in some other values that it might just give us like 1 or 2 tokens, So if we go back to the filters here, we can see I left it completely open in terms of the max market cap. Okay, I left it completely open in terms of the max age. So, and you can see we got like less than 30 tokens, and we're talking on 4 different chains, as well, right? So, with that being said, if we choose to go ahead and sort, by the 24-hour here, we can do that. Keep in mind, the 24-hour to give us, most to least, so the biggest drop, in the last 24 hours, all the way down to the least. And again, we were targeting a window of -70 to -90, right? So just for the sake of, highlighting this, for our new folks, so let's say that I go ahead and I take this out, okay? And I take this out, and then I go ahead and I flip-flop it to the -70 in the minimum and the -90 in the max, okay? Oops, -90 in the max. So even though this one over here is correct, I'm still going to get, screwed. So because I've messed it up. Right, so the moment you go ahead and you mess up these negatives, you're screwed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you only have 1 filter put in here. You mess this up, you're not going to get any tokens that's going to be generated, in your results. Okay, so just want to go ahead and highlight that for you. But again, keep in mind, coming back here to the filters, the only thing that we have done here is we never touch liquidity. Liquidity always stays at 1,000. We got the chain selected. Everything else is open except for what we've decided to go ahead and do here in the 24-hour and the 6-hour. Okay, we apply, and then we get our tokens back, right? Okay, so the other thing I want to also highlight, as always, is that these ones with the open box and the question mark, don't ever go ahead and mess with those. I mean, you can if you're really a degen and you really don't care about the risk, but a lot of these tokens typically don't do a whole lot, and it is higher risk if you choose to mess around with those. So just keep that in mind. Don't say you weren't warned. And again, here, I just want to highlight that in this column for the 24-hour, what did we say on our filters? In our filters for the 24-hour, we said we wanted to go with a -70 to -90% drop. Okay, we wanted to stay in that range there in the 24-hour. And that's exactly what we get. -70, nothing is outside of -70, nothing's below -70, and nothing's above 90. So everything here is between -70 and -90, right? The other thing, if we go back to the filters, because we're going to be looking at our 6-hour, and I'll sort by this now, okay, from greatest to least, we were looking for a window, our parameter was -10 to no more than -30, okay? So, and if you look here in the 6-hour, what do we have? Nothing lower than 10 on the minus side, and nothing more or higher than -30, right? So, and what did it give us? We set parameters for the 24-hour and we set parameters for the 6-hour. And what did it do? It matched both of those for us in the results. So nothing in the 24-hour has gone above 90, nothing in the 24-hour has gone under 70, nothing in the 6-hour has gone under 10, and nothing in the 6-hour has gone over 30 on the minus. Okay, and then everything else we kept open. We kept the age open, we kept 5-minute open, we kept the 1-hour open, and we kept market cap open. All right, so next thing that we want to do. All right, and so you can also see here, for some of these, this one, obviously it's an open one, so we don't really care about that. But if we're looking for, let's see here, like something like this, all right, it's sitting at 10K, but everything's in the minus, right? Everything's in the minus. So I'm not seeing, and if we look at this chart, we really shouldn't see a whole lot of activity on the upside, because there's nothing here that would indicate that we're seeing a lot of stuff here on the upside. Now, what I do want to highlight is that on the 5 minute, it's minus 1%. On the 1 hour, it's minus 11%. Why is that? Because we did see some buys, here, right? And we should also see that regardless of what we open up, we're going to see big sell candles, okay? But we should also see some evidence of buys, especially when we were looking here in the 6 hour at a minus 10 to minus 30 window. The reason why we set that minus 10 to minus 30 is because it should signal to us that there has been some buying activity on the chart, okay? So if we go here, broccoli the gangster, no, I don't want to look at that one. I want to see some green. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sort by the 5 minute. 5 minute will tell me where the volume is, if there's any volume coming back to the chart, right? So that's going to be this one. CZ's dot, that's going to be this one. That's going to be this one. And I don't really need to see, a whole lot. Okay, I hope this one's appropriate. Okay, so let's see here. And, okay, that's going to be it. All right, so on all of these, we should see some heavy sells, so this one there, and let's see, 15, 1 hour. Okay, we're going to go back to the 15. Oh, crap. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is because I actually want to see some of the activity, but as you move out on this one, you can see it's really at the bottom. There's activity, as we can see by the red and green here, but you have to zoom in to be able to see it, okay? So, but either way, this is what we're looking for. We want to see those big sell candles because that highlights to you what we're targeting. What we're targeting is charts that have already seen some massive sell-offs, okay? But they're still getting some buying activity. So here, broccoli, okay, this one. And I'm not focused right now whether they got a telegram or not. I know that some of these might not have telegrams. That's not what I'm focused on right now. I'm trying to show you how to target, some of these other tokens. Okay, and then this one, if we go and we can see the big sells, we got a sell kind of here, big one here, big one here. Okay, so that's fine. That's what we want to see. Okay, and then obviously we can see that kind of here over there. Okay, and then if we go to the 15 minute here. All right, so another good one, good example here. Huge, massive sell-off, and then we get some buy pressure that returned to this. And it actually kept going up a little bit, and then it came back down. So in each one of these, what have we seen? We've seen exactly what we wanted to target. We wanted to target some massive sells, but we also wanted to target tokens that were seeing some buys coming back to the chart, right? So massive sells, and we see some buys. Massive sells, and we see some buys. And a massive sells, and we see some buys. So that's exactly what we were looking for. And when you come back out here, you look at these filters, and if I'm talking too fast, for some of you guys that are new, especially since you're coming in a video, when I'm not really doing typically what I would do, you've always had the benefit, the videos. So just go ahead and go back, and just listen to it as much as you need to kind of get, your head wrapped around, what I'm telling you. But like I said, sometimes, you don't want to just jump into a brand new token, where everything's just kind of taken off. At some point people are going to sell, and you don't want to be the one that's kind of holding the bag. So there are times, where I do want to go ahead and jump into a token, where they've already had a pretty big sell-off. You keep in mind that when we talked about the one that I called, here, on this channel, if we go, let's see here, where is it? So I want to go to the original call. Actually, what I'm going to do, hold on, guys. Okay, guys, so what I wanted to do, I wanted to bring up, Eddie's chart. We've actually even changed the banner here. And so if we go out to the 15 minute, so I went ahead and I called this one, it was super early this morning, and it was under this area, so it was 165, somewhere around here, right? And so at the end of the day, like I didn't know at that time that, we were at the bottom level. But what I did know is that if you look here, they went up. And like I said, this came back down. And I think, what was this? This was around the 500K area, because I said in the post that I saw it around 200, somewhere around there under it, whatever. And then it ran up to 500 and then it came back down. So I knew that it already had, pretty decent sell-off, so, and I told you guys, I continue to go ahead and watch this one, but I continued to see buys on the chart. And I wasn't sure that it was going to go ahead and continue to dump, but I figured that when you looked at the buying activity and the selling activity, there was enough that I was seeing that I thought, hey, it might be worth it to go ahead and call this thing. So, and again, you can see this, let's see here. Where are we at? So this would be somewhere around 80s, so, and it did touch, the 80K area, so, but either way, they had a run this morning, and it was around, I think it was kind of somewhere in here, where it kept retracing, and then all of a sudden it just kind of shot up. Okay. And so either way, like you have to keep that in mind, that sometimes when you're looking at tokens, I know for me personally, sometimes I do want to go ahead and continue to see it fall and then decide like, okay, because if it's not real high, like imagine had I seen this and then I decided to go ahead and go into it. And there are a lot of people out there in terms of, trading where they're just never sure, when to sell, right? And so had you round trip this, to go ahead and like buy into it, maybe around that 200, 300K area, and then it goes up and then it just falls, right? And so you're left stuck with a bag. And at that point, you're thinking, man, I'm already down so much. And you could be, at this point, you would have been down like, at least 50%, so you're down that much and you're thinking you want to stop the bleeding, so then what do? You decide to go ahead and jump out of the token. And how many of you have a story like that? I know I sure do. Okay. And then what happens? It continues to go down. So you're feeling pretty good about your decision, right? Okay. But then it starts to go back up and you're thinking it's just going to come back down. Okay. And then it keeps going back up. And at this point, you're pretty discouraged. Why? Because you know that you could have gotten in earlier had you just had some conviction and just decided to go ahead and stay in and ride it out. But again, nobody ever knows what these things are going to do. And so even at this point where it was looking ugly, like it just continued to go down, and then out of nowhere, you started getting these $1,000, $3,000, $4,000 buys that were coming into the charts. And at that point, had you decided to go ahead and stay out, you're really frustrated with yourself because you're thinking, I had a chance to get in so much earlier, right? And then to watch this thing go all the way to 1.5 million from essentially 85K, somewhere around there. It was bananas this morning. Okay. And then obviously there's a retracement, and then, there's still buy pressure still coming back to the chart. So, I mean, again, the whole reason why I'm pointing this stuff out to you is because there are people out there that do want to go ahead and find the ones that do go down massively. Okay. And like me, I continue to go ahead and watch to see if there was still, consistent buy pressure. Now, I wasn't looking at a chart like this, where the buy transaction area just kind of sits and sits and sits. Like it was actively, there were buys, there were sells, and it continued on like that for hours. Okay. So, and I'm like, hey, if it's still doing all of this, then, it might make sense to continue to make a post. So yeah, that's just what I want to point out to you. What we're going to do at this point, we're going to move into discovery since I've gone ahead and given you my spiel in regards to this, even though we don't look at 4 tokens, but I like to go ahead and highlight that kind of stuff to you just because if you want to get away from some of the more basic stuff for what we're doing, typically on a daily basis, you can go ahead and put in some other filters to take a look at maybe different types of charts and getting used to, what the filters are going to produce for you in terms of a certain pattern on the chart that you're trying to look for, that maybe you might feel more comfortable, jumping into as far as your participation in a particular token. So with that being said, let me see. Hold on, guys. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and go with 50,000. Okay. And we're going to go to, let's go to 200. So we're going to see what's going on Dexscreener today. And then the pair age, we're going to start out with 1 hour to, let's go to 50. Okay. And then on the 24-hour change, we're going to start with the maximum or the minimum value of 10. Okay. If you're new, the reason why we're going with the minimum value of 10 is because I don't want to see any negatives. And so you'll be able to see here, if we sort by the 24-hour column, we're going to be everything from the highest, gains in the 24-hour column, to nothing under 10%. So everything's in the positive, so I took you through, highlighting and targeting negatives, right? But typically what we're doing on a daily basis, and everybody who's already, seen some of these videos and, has been a part of the Dexscreener series, they already know that we typically, focus on positive value, in that 24-hour column. Okay. And what you can do, you can always, I tend to go ahead and sort by the 24-hour, but you can always go ahead and decide to sort by the 5-minute, as well. We don't always do that in this channel, in the series, but you can certainly do that because you can see, even though you've got a lot of volume in that 24-hour column, what do we see here with Brock Inu? That in the last 5 minutes, they're up almost 31%, so that's clearly something to go ahead and take a look at, right? So, and then let's see, we'll go ahead and take another look at broccoli. Dark Solana, this one might be an interesting one to take a look at. And so right now, based on the fact that we've sorted by the 5-minute, what are we doing? We're targeting those that, we know have some volume coming into them, right? So I don't always go ahead and do that, but because I want you to see, basically, what I want to show you, and that is targeting that 24-hour column, because again, it's our longest time frame, unless it's like a brand new, token. It's our longest, window in terms of the game, right? But you can go ahead, like I said, if you want to go ahead and sort by the 5-minute, you can do that. You sort by the 1 hour, it's going to give you some other data, it'll show you, what's the largest gains, sorting from, the highest to the lowest in that column. It'll show you the highest gains in the last hour. You can do it by the 6 hour, which will show you the highest, gains in the 6 hour column, all the way to the least, so yeah. So that's something also to think about, as you're looking at something like that. This one, if we could look at the 5-minute, so we can see huge launch candle, and then obviously that came all the way back down, and so now we can see some buys and sells here. Could be, that this is starting to try to make an uptrend, but obviously the broccoli craze was yesterday, but you still have some tokens that are still moving today. I don't anticipate any of them to do remotely close, to what the OG broccoli did yesterday. So, but either way, we got a Telegram, so we'll take a look at it, because right now all we're doing is scanning, right? Seeing that the chart looks okay, making sure they got a Telegram. Okay, so Claude, so this is like a new programming language that's coming out. So let me see here. And this one is one, man, I think this is one I saw yesterday, and it really retraced quite a bit. So it's good to see, they're moving, but this is one I saw on Twitter, but they don't have a Telegram, so we're not going to mess with this one. But they have been moving it since yesterday. So if you're somebody that wants to go ahead and follow this one, I always tell you guys, make sure you go ahead and just copy, the name here, and you're going to go into your search bar here. You're going to paste it in, and then you're going to match up your 1 hour, 24 hour in the market cap. So looking for the market cap of 49K. There we go. The 1 hour is sitting at 19.38%. So it is here, and then the 24 hours sitting at 18.87. It is here. So this is your token. And I tell you guys this because I don't paste the contract addresses, in the description for you. So that's the way you guys have to go ahead and engage, with the video content. You got to go ahead and just, search for the name and then just match up that information, and then you'll know you're in the right token. We're going to close this one out. And here, they don't have a Telegram either, so we're going to close this one out too. They do have a Telegram here. This is Dark Solana, so we're going to go back to the 5-minute, and the chart looks okay. If I were going to do anything here, it would be an under alert just based on where the candle is, so, but we'll check it out anyway. This one seems pretty bottomed out, but it looks like they're still getting some activity. They get a Telegram. We'll keep it for now. This one, Binance Founder Dog, so again, they're talking about broccoli. This one looks like it might be, I don't know, they're saying they got, 10% in the last, 5 minutes, but you got minus 73%, in the 6 hour column, so obviously it went up, and it's just been nothing but a bunch of retracement, just eating up the buys, since they hit their peak. So, and this is kind of sitting right now, but it's a BSC token. I'll tell you what, we're gonna keep it, just so we can take a look, but I'm not so confident we're gonna actually go and do anything with this one. And then GTA, this one, no Telegram, so we're gonna leave it alone. Let's take another look. Let's go back here and let's go 200, 201 actually is what we want. All right, and then we'll go to 5, and we'll sort again, just by the 5 minutes, so I can stay consistent with what we've done here, and here in this video, and then we will start opening up some channels and go through our analysis in those channels, set some alerts, and then we'll call it a day on the video. So Wolf of Binance, we'll go and we'll open that one up. Broccolina, so this is a female-oriented token. Microwave AI, let's open you. Broccoli AI, we'll open you up as well. Broccoli Dog. So, and keep in mind, had we done this yesterday, it would have been even worse today. It would have been even worse. I mean, obviously we're looking at a bunch of broccoli, stuff right now, but it would have been even worse, yesterday. Booga, sure, we'll open that one. I don't even know. I have no clue what that one is. And then is there anything else? Sure, Rugrats is up, 1%, sure. Okay, so let's go, let's see here. We looked at that. Okay, so here is the Wolf of Binance. So we're gonna go to 1 minute. This looks like this is super, super new. Okay, they got a Telegram. We'll take a look. Not crazy about the chart, but we'll take a look anyway. Broccolina, I like how fun this one looks, so there's a real positive vibe, to what they got going on here, the banner. So I do like that. This one, obviously some heavy retracements, and then we can see some buy pressure coming back, some big buys coming in, on the chart too. So they got a Telegram. We'll keep it for now. And then this one is Microwave AI. Let's see here. Chart looks pretty decent. Okay, they got a Telegram, we'll keep it. And then this one, definitely do not like this chart. And Booga, no Telegram, we're not going to leave that one alone. And then this one, don't like the chart. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start taking a look, at some channels and go from there. So let's see here. We got a verification portal right away, which is positive. All right, so 390 members in the chat. We got to buy, right away here. My clock says 115. This is 115. That matches, my 10-minute buy window, or it falls within that 10-minute buy window. They are trending according to this, so we're going to make sure that Broccoli NU is on the leaderboard. There they are. So that's good. They're actively trending. They got a raid going. Let's see what's going on here in the raid. 5 bookmarks, what they're looking for. 6 replies. Got to go back up here. Oh my dear, where did it go? 6 replies, 6 retweets, and I think they were looking for 11 likes. So progress indicator says that we're getting some good engagement from the community. It's exactly what you want to see. So obviously, oh my goodness, just clicking everywhere today. So clearly, they're getting a lot of activity, here in the chat as well. But we've seen that before. I mean, a lot of activity doesn't necessarily guarantee anything, guys. So always mitigate your risk. So as soon as you can go and get that 2x, make sure you get those initials out. That's just responsible trading, to be quite honest with you. And then mitigate your risk so that you're able to, if you want to leave a moon bag in there, you're doing so without any of your initial, capital being invested, in that particular token. So, okay, so they entered Dex. What is this? Dexscreener. So yeah, you can see with the gold. Typically, once they're trending, or they've purchased a boost, actually, then the name will change to gold. If you didn't know that, that's what happens. So they're saying they got ads running on this one. So we'll go back out and take a look, just to go ahead and verify that. So we can see, yeah, they got ads running on this one. They got a pretty decent boost. Anytime you're looking at a 500 boost, you're talking about $4 being paid to go ahead and get that boost. 26, in terms of hot pairs, or our Dexscreener hot pairs trending. And so yeah, I mean, this is, there are positive things that obviously we've seen in regards to this. Didn't go through all the pin messages, but again, there is a lot of, good activity, okay, on this one. So I think for this one, for sure, it makes some sense to go ahead and set some alerts. We are currently, this one's saying 107. The tab is saying 121. So we're going to go 121. As far as the found market cap, we're going to go straight to market cap. 121K is going to be the note that we're going to leave ourselves in terms of where we found this. On the over, let's go to 145, okay? And then we're going to create that alert. And then on the under, let's paste in that found market cap. We're going to go to 100K on the under. We'll see if either of those trigger. Okay, so moving on to the next one, we're taking a look at Dark Solana's Telegram channel. Looks like this is the CTO. So, all right, so here we go. We've got 424 members, here in the channel. Buy came in right away, so that's a 118. I've got 118, on my clock, as well. So let's see, they got a raid going. Good progress, being made, in regards to the raid. So they're looking for, 5 bookmarks, 7 replies, 7 retweets, and 17 likes. So they've almost completed this raid, which again, that's positive. That highlights, that the community, is getting involved, in trying to help this token get additional exposure. And I've mentioned to you guys before, CTOs, again, some of them are good, a lot of them are garbage, but you got to always be careful, but it is positive. It's encouraging, to see a CTO doing the right things, trying to go ahead and get some exposure, for the token and the community, getting involved in that CTO, as well. So they got a number of different pin messages, here as well. We can see they're highlighting. They got a whale, here, in this token. So this is coming, from a channel that went ahead and shilled the token to their channel. All right, and then some other things going on here. They got a boost, that they paid for, so it's going to be active, for 12 hours. So we're going to go back over here, and you can see that 10x boost, is still active, so, and they got the raid going. Obviously, my personal feeling is you need more than raids, and a small boost to go ahead and get things moving in terms of a token. But for now, I mean, sentiment does matter, as well. There's no question about that. And obviously the chart, isn't looking too bad. However, you guys know I've mentioned this to you before, when charts have runs, and they retrace and they have another run, charts don't always continue to be able to, pull that off. I mean, there are charts that can do that, but they are not the norm. They are the exception, so keep that in mind, as we're looking at this chart, but again, for right now, looks like they're doing all right. In terms of what they've employed and in terms of community engagement and so forth, so we'll see if they can keep it up. We're going to set some alerts on this one and see if any of those trigger. So looking right now, this is saying 172, tab saying 165, so we're going to go with the tab as far as the found market cap. So 165K, we're going to copy that, and then on the over, we're going to go straight to market cap. On the over, let's go and let's set this one at 185. Okay, oops, all right, there we are. And then on the under, let's paste in our found market cap. We're going to go ahead and set this at 130K. Let's see if either of those trigger. Okay, so moving on to this one. I think we're probably going to go ahead and leave this one alone because I'm seeing more sell pressure than buy pressure, on this one. So I'm really not liking what I'm seeing. So we're going to close this one out. This one too, more sell pressure, than what we saw before. There's been additional sells since the last time we opened this tab up. So we're going to close this one out too. And for the Wolf of Binance, this is one on the BSC. Let's take a look, here and see what we got going on. All right, so we can see right away that they had a buy that just came in a minute ago. Okay, so we're gonna go up, and this looks like this is the actual channel, so no portal to go ahead and go through. All right, so we're looking for any kind of rating or trending going on. So I'm not seeing any evidence of a raid. We would have already seen that by now, and I'm not seeing any evidence. Let's see here. We got BSC trending, so this was just a couple of minutes ago. So they may actually still be active on the leaderboard. Let's go ahead and check that out. Looking for the Wolf of Binance, for BSC. So let's see if we go back up. No. So where's BSC? That's base. There we go. Wolf of Binance. So Wolf, and they're down here to 11. All right, let's go back over here. They were at 3. Okay, so let me just make sure that's absolutely correct because I didn't see any other wolf on here. Yeah, so and this is saying 472K, and I'm pretty certain, yep, they're in the 400s, so this is the one. So they've dropped 8 spots, on the leaderboard, so that's not necessarily a good sign, right? But they're still on the leaderboard, which is a positive, so it's all about, sentiment. It's all about the catalyst to go ahead and keep, interest, in the token, as well. But we're not seeing a raid, so that's not necessarily helping them out here. The trending is helping, but once they fall off the leaderboard, then what's going to bring people, into this particular token, so if we come back out, and what I want to see is if they got anything else going on here. They've got, no boost, no nitro, no ads, so they don't have a lot of buy pressure coming into this, and what does that typically mean for a lot of tokens? As I've mentioned before, in a lot of cases, it's not every case, but in the majority, I would say, you're going to see this chart continue to fall, so, and you can see you've got a lot of sells, coming in right now. You got to buy there, but the majority of these are going to be our sells. And here's what I think is going to happen. This is going to retrace pretty heavily, so I'm going to set an alert on this one. Right now we're sitting at, so this is saying 466, so I'm going to go and let's see, market cap and under, and then we're going to say 466K. And I'm actually going to take this one down to 200K actually. We're going to see if it triggers. And I know that's a massive deviation from where they are right now, but at the time of looking at this, they've got nothing going on to continue to serve as a catalyst, for buys to continue to come on this, so my personal opinion is that this is not going to stay up here. Now, we're going to come back and take a look at this tomorrow, I'll see if the alert did go ahead and trigger, but if they do some additional things to increase exposure, yeah, they'll start to, I think that'll help them in terms of the market cap, but the only thing they've got going on is BSC trending. They've dropped 8 spots on the leaderboard. They're probably going to fall off, probably sometime in the next half hour or so. When that happens, there's going to be nothing going on this chart. There's going to be nothing bringing in additional buys to this particular token. So what are people going to do? They're going to go ahead and sell the tokens. So now whether it retraces by 200,000 on the market cap, I don't know, but I do not see how this can possibly continue to go up. That's just my own personal opinion. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close this out. And this one, obviously, we've seen even more buy pressure on this one since the last time we took a look at it. I'm going to take a look at their Telegram. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, so I think they got a very nice portal, to go ahead and go into as far as this was concerned. So evidence of a raid, right away. We can see they're looking for 3 replies, 5 retweets, 10 likes. Okay, so they're still, they still haven't completed that. They don't have a ton of members. Well, I mean, it's almost 300. I mean, this shouldn't be a difficult, raid to complete. So we'll see if they can complete that. If they can't, I don't necessarily see that as a positive, because you want to have your community, be engaged and be working for the bags. A lot of tokens go ahead and talk about this, but a lot of communities, when we've seen this time and time again, especially if you've been in crypto for any amount of time, people go ahead and buy tokens. The community wants them and provides opportunities for them to engage and help to show their own token that they've already invested in. And guess what? A lot of communities they just don't do it, or they wait for somebody else to, right? So we'll see what happens. But I think for a small rate like that, you got a 300 member or subscriber Telegram, definitely the community should be able to, get them across the line in terms of completing that raid. Any rating is underrated. I think it can be very helpful. But again, you want a community that's bullish about the token, number one, and is willing to go ahead and work and get that token out there and show and retweet and do what it takes to go ahead and complete a raid. So for this one, let's see here. And we got some activity here. Obviously, there have been 18 messages, since we entered the chat. So we got some P&Ls that are being shared, and obviously for this one, this is being shared on a token that's not even this token, so what I like to see there is that you got active moderation. You got your moderators that are being actively involved in terms of making sure they're removing stuff, so that person that went ahead and forwarded, those P&Ls, was obviously, like I said, not even a member of this token. They're talking about another token called Evil. So this is coming from Squid Game Dejan's call. So obviously what they're trying to do, they're trying to go ahead and take members, from this community and move them over to theirs, which that never works. So, but yeah, they'll clear that out and ban them, from the channel and so forth. But either way, we don't see any sign of trending right now. Not seeing, anything else going on in terms of, just trying to market this token, so if we look here, this is coming from another channel that is trying to let their community know, about this particular token. And obviously if they're in the pinned message, that's also a good sign, that they're letting their community know here, in this particular channel, what somebody else had shared in a different community about their token. So that's meant to really try to increase the bullish sentiment or positive sentiment in regards to the token itself. So we can see here, this is forwarded, from another channel, and let's see here, a shill, from CoinMarketCap, so that's a pretty big deal. So they paid some advertising, as well. So we're going to go ahead and head back on out here, and so we're seeing a little bit of sell pressure, but that's not unusual. You see big buy candles like this, you're going to see some retracement. Okay, we're currently sitting at 240, K on the market cap. They've got ads. This is the ads they pay for, and then they got that 100x boost. So that's some good money too. That was paid for that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to alerts. 241 is going to be the final market cap on this one, so 241. Okay, and then on the over, let's go ahead and let's set this at 260. Okay. And then, on the under, okay, let's paste that in. Oops, that's the wrong one, 241. So on the under, we're going to go to 200K, okay? So we'll see if either of those trigger. Now, for this one, this is Microwave AI, and let's take a look at the Telegram. Chart's still looking pretty good. This is CTO, didn't realize that at first. Okay, so last buy just came in a minute ago. They got a raid going right now. 16 bookmarks is what they're looking for. 17 replies, 19 retweets, and 27 likes. So And they're more than a quarter across, into this one in terms of participation in completing the raid. So, and that's with 454 members, here in this particular channel. So I think that's good activity. I think they're getting activity from the community. I think they're probably going to successfully complete that raid. Looking here, in the pinned, so there's a new banner they're going to go ahead and put on on Dexscreener. So they've created a memes channel, as well. You can, send your memes over there, which I think depending on the token, sometimes that can be helpful and sometimes it isn't, but good to see that all they're really trying to do is continue to get, some community involvement, right? So, and I think this is kind of cool, it's a microwave AI, so they're showing people just kind of spinning around, like they would in a microwave, right? So I think that's pretty interesting. So, looking here at the bottom, all right, I didn't see any signs of trending, so I still don't see any signs of trending. So no trending. Let's take a look over here, and and no ads, no boost. So it's just the raids, So you guys know how I feel about that. I personally think the raids alone are just not enough to continue to move a token. But I mean, the chart kind of speaks for itself. I mean, it's working, and in some instances, raids may prove to be very effective. I still, as I've said before, I think it's an underrated tool. But I also think it has to be in the right token, for it to really be effective. Here, apparently, it seems to be working, So, given where the candle is, we're just going to go ahead and set an under alert on this one. So we're currently sitting at, this says 495 in the tab. So we're going to go straight to market cap. 495 is going to be the final market cap. And we're going to set the under, and the under is going to be, we're going to set it for 430. Okay, we'll see if that triggers. All right, guys. So with that being said, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in for another video here in the Dexscreener series on the Investment Honey channel. And if you're not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel so you can get, get those notifications, for when new content is released to the channel. And you'll also be able to benefit, from any kind of broadcasts that are made to the community in terms of anything that I may post. Like yesterday, I said to the community through a broadcast, that I was not going to go ahead and post a video based on all the broccoli nonsense. And so, but if you weren't subscribed, you wouldn't have known about that broadcast. So please consider subscribing. That's how, we can get more of this content out to more people, across the YouTube channel, or across the YouTube landscape. And so I need your help in order to be able to do that. So if you got friends or somebody that's new to crypto that you think would be able to benefit from the information that's being shared here, please make sure that you share the channel with them. Let them know what's going on in the series and see if they are interested in joining us, from day to day as new content is delivered in regards to the series as we continue to cover Dexscreener and everything you can find on it. So thank you so much for again tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on the next video.